You may have seen buildings and machines that look like this, and known that they have something to do with the production of electricity. But what exactly is going on inside them? What do different types of power plants do? I'm George, I'm a middle school science teacher, and if you give me just 3 minutes of your time, I'll tell you. In my last video, I discussed electrical generation, and for simplicity's sake, I'll remind you that in order to generate electrical current in a wire, all you need to do is keep a part of that wire moving within a magnetic field. In power plants, this is done by continuously spinning the wire around a magnetic field. More coils of wire around larger magnets generate more electricity, so providing energy for the entire city takes building very large generators. The problem with this is that if the wire stops spinning in the magnetic field, the electrical current stops. So, in order to keep powering a society, generators must keep spinning. And that takes a lot of energy, especially for the size generator that we need. And here's where the engineering question comes in. How do we find and use enough energy to keep giant rotors spinning without slowing down or stopping indefinitely? Believe it or not, when people discovered how to generate electricity in the 1700s, they already had their answer. In front of me, I have a simple steam engine. It works like this. I light a fuel source here, which heats the water in this chamber, which we call the boiler. This water boils, evaporating into steam, and is trapped in the boiler, building up pressure. This pressure is enough to push up this piston, which we can attach to other machinery that we can use to turn a rotor. Larger steam engines can turn larger rotors, and alas, we can power a society.
Oh my God, yay!
Believe it or not, almost 300 years later, the vast majority of the world's electrical energy is still being generated with steam engines. While yes, there have been major advancements in developing other ways to turn rotors of a generator, almost 70% of the world's power plants are essentially just enormous steam engines. The main difference in power plants, then, is really just the fuel source that they use to heat that water. Here I'm using ethanol, a flammable compound, to boil water. The buildings that you picture when you think of power plants burn fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas to generate the necessary heat. Even nuclear power plants are really just futuristic steam engines. Nuclear fission, or the splitting of a nucleus, doesn't by itself release any electricity. What nuclear fission does do, then, is release a ton of heat without producing much waste. Nuclear reactors split the atom for no other reason than to boil the water necessary to power a steam engine. In recent years, it's become clear to the scientific community that constantly burning fossil fuels to generate heat is having a lasting negative impact on global weather patterns. Therefore, engineers are working on developing new ways to spin generator rotors that don't require burning massive amounts of fuel. In order to truly launch into the future, we as a species will need to harness the power of wind, water, and the sun to generate electricity. To recap, we learned that the production of electricity requires the constant spinning of a rotor inside a generator. The main way this is achieved is through steam power. Steam engines heat water trapped in a boiler and use the resultant pressure to move a piston. Pistons are attached to mechanical arms that can be used to spin a rotor. Almost 70% of the world's generators are still currently powered by steam engines, though other types of power plants exist. Now you know the basics of how power plants work, and if you give me just 3 more minutes of your time, I'll tell you about the rise of renewable energy and why the world still relies so heavily on fossil fuels.